Imagine a forest, somewhere, right now, and something in it just made a decision. Not one animal, not one brain. Thousands of them, simultaneously. They decided something entered their territory. They decided it was a threat, and they decided what to do about it. No signal, no leader, no individual. It just happened across thousands of minds in less than a second. And the organism at the center of that decision? It never had a chance. This is not science fiction. This is not a weapon designed by humans. This is Pokémon number 13, and its final form is one of the most ruthlessly optimized biological systems ever to exist on Earth. I'm Professor Dex, and this is DexBiology, where we classify Pokémon as real Earth organisms. Weedle, Pokédex number 13. Roughly 30 centimeters long, just under 3.5 kilograms. At first glance, small, pink, almost harmless. A larva with a horn on its head, but that horn isn't decoration. The Pokédex is very specific. The stinger on top of its head contains a potent venom, one that causes swelling, numbness, severe pain. And unlike the previous line we studied, Weedle doesn't hide from threats, it poisons them. This is a larva that arrived already armed. Already dangerous, already part of something far larger than itself. Because Weedle doesn't just evolve into a flying insect, it evolves into an army. Weedle's body follows the standard larval blueprint, segmented, soft, built for feeding. But there are two features that set it apart immediately. The first, that horn. In real insects, larvae with defensive spines or articulating structures are incredibly common. Stinging caterpillars, like the saddleback moth or the low moth larva, deploy hollow spines filled with chemical irritants the moment anything touches them. Weedle's horn functions as exactly this, a hardened, venom-loaded delivery system. Passive by default, lethal on contact. The second feature? Its coloration. Weedle is bright pink and yellow. That is not camouflage, that is a warning. In nature, this is called aposematism, bright coloring that signals toxicity. It's used by poison dart frogs, monarch butterflies, and thousands of venomous insects. The message is universal. I am not hiding. I am not running. I am telling you exactly what I am, and I am telling you not to touch me. This is a fundamental evolutionary leap from Caterpie. Caterpie invests everything in invisibility. Weedle invests in something far more aggressive. Reputation. Earth Viability score. Weedle. 9 out of 10. Nature's first warning shot. Lethal, efficient, and honest about what it is. Last time, we studied Metapod, the stage of total vulnerability, the organism that cannot move, cannot fight, cannot run. Kakuna is different. On the surface, almost identical. A hardened shell, a dormant body, an organism in the middle of transformation. But the Pokédex gives us something remarkable. Kakuna can still use poison sting. Its stinger remains accessible even inside the cocoon. Minimal movement, minimal energy, but the most critical defensive capability, preserved. In real wasps and hornets, the pupal stage is far from passive. The developing organism maintains chemical defenses. Some species can still release alarm pheromones from inside the casing, signaling to the colony that danger is nearby, triggering a defensive response from the entire nest while the individual itself cannot yet act. This is the key difference between this line and the last one. Caterpie's cocoon phase, Metapod, is a gamble. Total shutdown, total exposure, hope nothing finds you. Kakuna's cocoon phase is a fortified position, hardened exterior, active venom, chemical alarm system, and, critically, a colony that will respond if you disturb it. Metapod survives by being invisible. Kakuna survives by being part of something larger. That distinction will matter enormously when we get to what comes out of it. Earth Viability score, Kakuna, 8 out of 10. Never truly defenseless. A trap waiting to open and a colony waiting to respond. Beedrill is classified as a poison and flying type. Its body, large, armored, triple stingered, built for aggression. But the most important thing about Beedrill is not what it is, it's how many of them there are. Beedrill is eusocial. It lives in colonies. It coordinates with other members. It shares information. It makes collective decisions. And this is where the biology gets genuinely strange. In eusocial insects, bees, wasps, hornets, ants, many biologists treat the colony, not the individual, as the meaningful unit of selection. The colony is the organism. The individual Beedrill is closer to a blood cell than a person. It exists to serve a larger system. It responds to that system's needs. It can sacrifice itself for that system without hesitation, without fear, because it is not really an individual. It is a component. And the system it belongs to can process information, make strategic decisions, and deploy thousands of venomous attackers faster than any single nervous system could react. Remember the decision the swarm made at the start of this video? That's how. No central command, no leader, just chemistry, broadcast at the speed of evaporation, processed by every individual in range, and acted on before any single nervous system could even register the threat. A decision made by thousands in under a second, without thought. Japanese giant hornets, the closest real-world equivalent to Beedrill, have been documented killing entire honeybee colonies of 30,000 individuals in under 3 hours. Not one hornet, not 10. A coordinated group of fewer than 30. That is what collective intelligence looks like as a weapon. When Beedrill emerges, nothing about it suggests fragility. 3 stingers, 2 on the forelimbs, deployed forward, like weapons held at the ready. 1 on the abdomen, the classic delivery system, positioned for precision. Compound eyes that track motion in near 360 degrees. Nothing approaches unseen. Wings capable of 40 kilometers per hour, faster than you can run. And a venom apparatus that, unlike a honeybee's, does not detach, does not sacrifice itself, does not stop. A honeybee dies to sting you once. Beedrill doesn't die. It's a wasp, and wasps don't make that trade. Beedrill's venom contains multiple active compounds, tissue-destroying enzymes, pain-signaling peptides, and, most alarmingly, alarm pheromones released on stinging. The moment Beedrill deploys its venom, it broadcasts a chemical signal to every other Beedrill in range. Hear this now. One sting doesn't just hurt you. One sting calls the swarm. This is not defense. This is a distributed weapon system with chemical networking built into the organism at the molecular level. Earth Viability Score, Beedrill, 9.8 out of 10. One of the most dangerous biological systems on Earth. The individual is just the trigger. Beedrill is territorial in the extreme. Its colonies control zones. Any intrusion triggers a coordinated response, and that territory serves a biological purpose. It protects the nest. It secures food sources. It keeps every organism, predator or prey, far enough away that the colony survives. The evolutionary logic is airtight. If every individual costs almost nothing to replace, but each individual deters predators 10 times its size, then the colony's territorial defense becomes exponentially more effective than any single large organisms could be. A bear can be frightened away from a hive. An elephant can be driven off by a swarm. A human being, in documented cases, can be killed by a colony defending what it perceived as a single threat. The swarm doesn't know your size. It only knows you came too close. This is why eusociality has independently evolved at least 11 separate times in the animal kingdom. It is one of the most successful survival strategies ever developed. But there is a vulnerability. The colony model has one catastrophic flaw: the nest. Everything depends on its survival. The queen, the larva, the future generations, all concentrated in one location. Individual Beedrill can be neutralized. Dozens, hundreds can fall. The colony replaces them. But destroy the nest, remove the queen, and the entire system collapses. Thousands of individuals, millions of years of evolution, gone if you find the right point of failure. This is the trade-off of collective intelligence. The group is nearly invincible. The center is everything. So where does this line land? Let's score them. Weedle, 9 out of 10. Nature's first warning shot, lethal and efficient. Kakuna, 8 out of 10. Never truly defenseless, a trap waiting to open. Beedrill, 9.8 out of 10. One of the most dangerous biological systems on Earth. Overall line, 10 out of 10. Venom plus armor plus collective intelligence. Nothing survives this combination unchanged. Caterpie's line chose reinvention. Weedle's line chose something more dangerous, escalation. Every stage of this line is more threatening than the last. Every phase adds capability. Every evolution doesn't just rebuild, it upgrades the weapon. And at the top of that chain, an organism that doesn't just defend itself, doesn't just fight back, but thinks as 1,000. On Earth, that doesn't just survive, that dominates. If this is the kind of breakdown you want more of, where Pokémon are treated like the real biological systems they're based on, subscribe, because we're going through the entire Pokédex. And some of them are even stranger than this one. But not every line survives by becoming part of something larger. Some go the opposite direction. One body, one set of wings, one chance to outrun everything behind it. An organism that pushed speed so far its own biology started to break down around it. Hollow bones, a metabolism burning so fast it's barely sustainable. A body that chose velocity over durability, and then kept going. Most flying organisms compromise. This one didn't. And what happens when a body refuses to slow down is more dangerous than it sounds. DexBiology merch is live. DexBiology.com. Links below. So here's the real question. If you could never fight alone again, if every decision you made belonged to something larger than yourself, would you take it? Would you trade being one for being 1,000? Or would you rather face the world as yourself?